Hey everybody, Seth here at More Sports, and we're about to break down a Sinister X5 lens change. Now guys, this is one of their most popular goggles, and you're going to see tons of different frame options and lens colors. And so this can be a goggle that can absolutely be mix and matched. However, it's slightly more involved, and so we're going to break this down for you as fast and easy as we can. But again, this is one that out of their entire lineup is maybe one of the more involved lens changes. So guys, real easy start. Depending on what your dominant hand is, I use that one right below on the nose piece here. There's a nice curve that I can stick my middle finger and my ring finger around, and then I like to put my pointer finger in a little further down the frame and my pinky a little further down the other side. That way it gives it a nice firm base all the way across. And then I like to do the same thing with the opposite hand, or your less dominant hand. Reach up onto the top of the frame, again spreading your fingers out so as to grab the most of the frame as possible. And so I just brace it, and then you just start peeling it apart, guys. Don't worry about getting on this. There might be some things that pop off, like a nose piece or this brow piece up here, but don't worry, everything can pop right back in. These are really tough frames. Same deal with the outrigger. If you have any issue, everything goes right back into place. Now again, as I have this open here, guys, I just want to stop real quick and tell you this is kind of a key thing when changing the X5 lens. So you're going to notice these grooves that run along the entire outside, and it's going to go down here as well. And there's another thing here too as well. So I'm going to pop this this lens out completely. Notice the grooves that do run around the entirety of this frame. Those are going to be key because there are matching spots inside of an entire groove that runs around all of the frame of the goggle as well. So a little bit more involved in like the kingpin or the revolver, but keep those in mind. So right here, guys, that's kind of a great way to see that groove, and it's going to run all the way around. So what I like to do with the X5, or really any goggle in general, especially when it has this style of system, is I like to start with the nose piece. It's a great central point to start, and it gets two of those notches in right away. And then I like to work around the edge all the way to the top. Again, trying to meet each one of those notches into the spot that's specified for it in the frame. So guys, again, get in there, kind of brace with your dominant hand, and depending on your preference, I use my dominant hand to brace. Bring the lens in, and you're going to want to find that groove, and this is one that I move and groove around with, guys, to kind of finagle into spot. And so I'm going to have to move in this a little bit more than like a kingpin or a revolver. But again, start in that central nose piece and really make sure those notches are really locked in. You don't really want to see any of the notches. You're going to want to get a really good seal on this. You know, breaks and that can cause issue. And again, I start working the bottom of the frame all the way around until my my notches are all the way covered, and it's also grooved. So again, don't mind me. It takes a little bit of movement and messing around with it until you find that sweet spot, and then it starts kind of meeting up for you and working its way in almost as you go along. So again, I come around and I try to do it evenly across, you know, from the bottom and then outrigger to outrigger, and then around to the top, and then the middle. And so again, just kind of keep an eye on what you're doing. Really watch that groove and kind of get it into place if you can. It's going to really be a little bit of a frustrating thing occasionally, but once you start doing a few, it starts kind of making a little more sense. But that's typically why with an X5 I just stow additional frames. It's a little easier situation than having to change this on the trail or on the side of the mountain, especially in cold weather. Fingers don't work as good. It's not as easy of a deal. So we'll time lapse past this, guys, because you don't have to sit here and watch me fumble with this. But what you're going to want to do is keep those key things in mind when changing this lens. It requires a little bit of moving and grooving because of the grooves. So now I'm getting it into the better spot, guys. The kind of the final end, you know, you got the bottom in and you're getting the top, and so again that middle brow piece is going to kind of connect right onto that middle groove, and that's normally when you're kind of in the home free position in the situation. So again, then you're going to want to work around and make sure everything is in there nice and tight. Again, you're going to want to have the best seal possible. If it makes it easier for you, pop the nose piece off, but I don't ever mess with that. That's just another thing to have to finagle with after you get the lens in. But guys, that's a Sinister X5 lens change. Again, it's going to be the same whether it be the Ignite, the XL version, or the standard X5. So check out the other videos for the lens changes, but that's one that's going to really make it a little easier for you riders out there.